Welcome back, Tech Artist 41. Well, before I get started on my drawing again, I'm going to basically just draw out a sketch for whatever I have planned next. But I do hope everybody is doing well and getting ready for Thanksgiving as always. So, for drawing, you always have to start very simple. If you want to draw very elaborate, you will have to make sure you draw out the shapes. And whenever I'm drawing a person, I do draw their neck a little bit taller than normal, mostly because when you draw their chin, it usually goes right in between where you're actually drawing it. So, there we go. And you can always choose different types of ears or hair, and I always default to female because they're always fun to actually draw, because they have a lot more fluidity in their appearance. Or female like it. Either way, there's shapes and everything for all things now. Let's, oh wait, 1 second. Is it not showing? Huh. Sorry, one moment. Seems like my document camera is not even showing what it's supposed to be. Document. Alright, let's try this again. There we go. Sorry about that. Don't know why it did that on me, but yeah. There we go. Alright. Well, at least now you can see it, so that's better. It's better than nothing, so. There we go. Well, let's put this back to where it needs to be. So here we go. We have the shape. So first you draw a circle, cross lines to know exactly how to position everything. And then the hair, it really depends on how you want to draw the hair. And that always depends on what you really want to do for your drawing. So. And usually the hair that you sketch out is more of a guideline, not really the final piece and what you're trying to accomplish in your drawing or painting or whatever you're doing. So it is more of a guideline to how you want your drawing to be. Not the definition of how your drawing is. Of course, I may not be making much sense into what you would actually be wanting to draw, but everybody has their own different type of drawing style. Mine sort of goes in between a little bit of everything of what it is that I want to draw. And the reason why I'm using a big pen, A big pen is actually one of the easier pens to sketch with. So it is one of the pens that makes it quite a bit easier to get everything down to the proportions you want. Well, not exactly, but it feels more like a pencil than any other type of pen that I've used, so I figured it would be a nice sort of teaching tool. And your sketches don't have to be elaborate. I'm just doing this because I kind of want to make my sketch a little bit more elaborate than. And the reason why things end up as they are, well, you kind of just think about it and then it tends to happen. Usually everything just happens in a happy accident. But without eyebrows, nothing actually looks right. There we go. For a nice look. And sometimes just choosing the right type of outfit for your character is one of the better choices to choose. But there we go. And usually whenever I'm drawing something, even if it is pen, I tend to sort of go all out in a way where it keeps sort of the essence of what I'm trying to do in the drawing itself. Nothing has to be a masterpiece, just I tend to sketch out what I want from the beginning. I tend not to think about it and just let my hand do all the work. Everyone has their own. I just repeated myself, didn't I? But if you have any ideas of what you would want to draw in the stream of anything that I do tend to, well, I will draw what you want as long as it's not copyrighted. Those are the things I like to stay away from. Mostly because of lawsuits and all that stuff. Everybody has to deal with something, and I would rather not deal with that. Even though Disney owns the thing, they don't own the rights for other people to draw as long as it's used as a teaching tool. It's a weird sort of concept, but it can't be that's your art. 'Cause you're just copying exactly what they're doing. So that's why you always have to be careful. But there she is. Just need to add a little bit details in the eye. Add the iris. And there she is. Let's get a closer look on it. And there she is. Well, let's get back to the drawing at hand. Let me... It's one drawing down, one more to go. Alright, let's go back to Photoshop. Not the best program, but not the worst. It's still a memory hog by any means necessary of it. I just tend to know that using it uses a lot of my computer resources, no matter which computer I use it on. It sucks up memory like no tomorrow. Alright. Let's go to the drawing display, or the drawing tablet. Yeah. Ignore all this. This is basically just my background. I am into a lot of different anime. Of course, I also like the very dark anime that will give you nightmares if you do watch it. I just like all the different types. Alright, let's go back to mirror. Come on. Alright, come on. You can do it. There we go. Alright, time to finish her off. So, last that I had it, there are a few things that I need to do. The first thing would be to adjust the color to black, go back to the initial setup of, well, of her tribal tats, and take that off of whatever I had it in. Actually, I'm gonna do the opposite and just this, like I planned from the beginning. I know there are people that join, they watch, then they leave my channel. That's... What went wrong here? I don't... Oh... No? Okay, something's wrong. My... Okay. My trackpad got in the way. Lovely. If you guys want to chat, you can always chat. I don't mind using this as a space to chat from. I may be talking to myself at the moment, but hey. It's what I just do this more for myself anyway, so. Everyone lives their own lives in their own way, so I'm more or less just trying to make it so that nothing gets in the way of what they want. I more or less do this for fun, not really for anybody's benefit. But it would be nice to have some backers. I just do this to at least have something going on. It also calms me whenever I draw. No thoughts of evilness, no thought. Everyone's evil, if you think about it long and hard. Everyone in this world has an evil agenda. Sort of. That's always... Well, that's more or less just part of everybody's agenda in some way or form. We're not evil, we're just wanting the best for our futures. Okay. There we go. And the most obvious reason why I'm zooming in is to fix some problem areas too. But also to make sure that I have this completely solid, not anything that looks weird or something that's probably not going to happen for anything. And I did turn off my machine yesterday. Alright. And that clicking sound, that would be backup power just in case my electricity goes out, because apparently every time it gets cold the wind blows and my electricity ends up just going out like clockwork, really. Come on. There we go. Do-do-do-do. But I would love to see, well, I'd like to hear exactly what people have in for the holidays, or what people's plans are for the holidays. Of course. It's not like anybody will say anything unless they wish to say it. A lot of artists are very shy. I'm shy myself. I don't like to talk to people either. But that's more just me. It's not really slightly how we grew up, but more the fact that I had nothing to say in the first place until I really needed to say something, because people wouldn't listen to me, so I gotta say something just so that they can. That's usually why I say something, but everyone has their reasons, their motivations, their desires. Okay, here. Pen, come on, eraser. There we go. Okay. Eraser. Yeah, we'll stick with pen and keep sticking with pen and just cover up some areas. Let's go all the way back down to skin. Yep, that is the skin. Erase it. I could just do this. Did it again, didn't I? Alright, let's go back to top layer. How would that show? I could technically use that as shading. Yeah, we'll see. There we go. Smooth that out. More of just... No, I actually like it like that. That makes it quite nice. It really defines the detail. And it creates a sense of a shadow. But that's probably not how it's going now. Whoops. Edit, redo, eraser. I do want to get rid of that. So we'll stick with this, because I'd rather have something very, very simple between here. Let's see. No, I like that better. Alright, so let's see. We adjust this right here. If it would go to the eraser, there we go. Back to pen. Yeah, that looks better. Not too much of a thickness in some areas. Need to get rid of this. This was noticeable far away. I was able to see it, so. Whoops. There we go. Needs to be subtle. At the same time, still not as noticeable. And there we go. There we go. Always fix certain things. Don't be in the habit to fix everything, but do as I say, not as I do. That sort of mentality. More so because what I'm doing is more of perfectionist level. Well, not really perfectionist level, just I have a perfectionist mindset, so that's just how I do things. There we go. Alright, we'll erase this part right here. There we go. Alright, any outliers, hair or otherwise? Looks like we're good for now. Alright, the next thing. Alright, so now that we have the eyes, we do need to adjust some things though. The first thing would be this right here. The eyelashes. One of the most difficult things to sort of have in any particular drawing. The eyelashes are not the hardest things to draw, it's just they kind of get in the way sometimes of what you're trying to implement. So you have to be very careful on how you implement the eyelashes. We'll stick with the normal method. We draw the blank stare before we do anything else. Blank stare with the brightest point, which is the iris. And we can always add a dot or so on the outside. Sometimes it's best to just have two. Keep it as simple as possible. And then for this one, you will need to just draw it wherever. You could be above, below, but it does have to be below all the well, it has to be below the outline itself. So the first thing that we need to do is just, well, not the first thing, but we do have to have a base behind the eye that always shows as white, so that's why I don't know exactly what that's called. It never was really explained to us in science class. I tend not to forget. Let's go with a more blue eye this time. So one above that. Then we fill it in. And there are many ways to draw an eye. And the way I'm going to be showing you is very simple, yet also probably the easiest way to draw an eye is just have it fade into whatever you're trying to do. And then from there, all you have to do is choose one of the darker blues, place it above or below, it doesn't matter, as long as one thing is showing. But you have to make sure that you can actually see it. So, good. So you will have to take it off of that and then put it back to where it's full hardness and there's no opacity filter through it. And eyes can be very detailed or they can be very, well, they can be very, how can I say it very easily? Sorry, my pen seems to be lagging behind just a bit. And yes, I deal with this constantly. Alright. Now that we have that, we go above everything. We're not done with the eye yet. We still have to do one more thing. We have to make this a little bit larger. Put the opacity filter back on. And what we're doing now is giving sort of a look to the eye to show as if it is shimmering. But we do need a little bit of the opacity. And I did go all the way to the white, more so to give in this nice looking effect. And let me make it even more effective by doing one more thing. So now that we have sort of the general basis of what an eye looks like, we do need to make sure that the look of the eye stays looking like an eye. So what I'm doing right now is erasing all the lines. And the reason why I'm doing this is to clean up my eye. So you can see that there's no white down here. Well, we're going to add more white down there. So this is the right layer. It's still on opacity. We need to take it off of opacity, put the hardness back to normal, put it back onto pen, but make sure it's on the hard pressure pen, because otherwise it's not going to work right. We do have to be very careful on each step because we don't want to forget any lines, but you could always keep your eye like that and it gives more of a real look. But I tend to go back in and adjust it to where I put the line back in, but at the same time I keep that look of that nice, gorgeous eye. And you don't have to adjust anything or anything like that, because when you're dealing with something, well, when you're dealing with the eye itself, you kind of just need to do it very simply. Now that we have that, let's get back to the rest of the general tats. Okay, sorry about that. There we go. And everybody has a way they draw that's going to be completely different. I draw differently than what I do when I actually have it already planned out in my head. Okay. No. Eraser. Pen. There we go. Because when I have everything planned out in my head, I tend not to draw so many details or anything like that. Or even if I don't have a plan in my head of what I want to draw, I tend to just go with the flow. Alright. And nothing really has to be perfect, but this part is annoying me right here. Eraser. There we go. We'll just keep it like that. It looks better. Doesn't look as awkward. And this right here will need to be adjusted to basically like this. And this needs to be adjusted to something like this. Much better. That looks more realistic. Okay. And now, to fix the bikini to have a design of some sort. Since we're going sort of a simplistic design, I was gonna do something that may trick someone's eye. But also direct it to where it needs to go. But if anybody does have any questions, I'm willing to answer them. Simple or hard questions. Sorry about that. Sometimes you just have to sneeze. Mostly just fixing the last bit of details on all these. Let's go with some sort of I'm mostly just drawing to see exactly what I come up with. Sometimes that's the way to do it. You just need to go with the flow. And there we go. I'm mostly just trying to get rid of certain lines in this, just so that they don't show as much. Let's go to hair, erase some lines. Here, there we go. Come on. There we go. There we have that. It'd be interesting if any of my designs ended up being recreated and people saying, it's like, you should get royalties from that. You created it first. That'd be funny. If one of my designs actually ended up being made for consumers, it's like, I made that design. No, you didn't. Have proof. Show me. That'd make my day. It's like, how much do you want for it? Just give me $1 million and we'll call it even. What? That's it? Yeah. Why? I don't want all your money. I just want to live a life where I can live in just peace without any trouble whatsoever. Plus, $1 million is all I need in order to make everything work for me. We have triangles on that side. Let's do circles. That goes with the aesthetic that I'm going towards on this. Kind of funny, but if I end up with a design that I've created, just something that ended up being part of someone else's design, it'd be awesome. Okay, so there, and here. Triangles on one side, circles on the other. We'll just make it so that everything ends up the way I kind of want it. Of course, I'm adding shapes to all of this, which defeats sort of purpose on certain lines. But it does add quite an interesting look to everything. It's like, what is your inspiration, you say? I don't have an inspiration. Still looking for my muse. How can you have no inspiration yet your drawings look so beautiful? Sorry, I'm more of just talking to myself. Alright, but there we go. More of dreams of grandeur. Alright, let's see. Got that, got that. Now we just need the hair. And we're done. Well, and the eyebrow. The eyebrow, you really don't need much. You just need to copy what you have on the hair. And there, the eyebrow's done. Sort of. Still something I need to do here. Okay. Alright. And I could do this for the hair, but it wouldn't look right. To just... yeah, no. Hair is a tricky thing. You have to follow the same sort of pattern of colors and all that. But let's, there we go. Right there. You just have to have a similar color to what you want. And then that's why color is always very difficult for people, is the fact that you have to know which colors to add, which colors to subtract. And yes, people who are colorblind have a harder time differentiating between colors. So their form of color is different than what most people see. I tend to see colors in multiple different ways. I also understand how colorblind all the all the actual machines are too. They're just as colorblind as everybody else is. Alright. Now that we got that out of our systems, let's go here. And we're just, on this, we're going simple. We're going soft, increasing this to around 400%. We need it larger. 500? 1,000? Sure. 1,000 should do it. Yep. Yep, and I need to adjust it to where this is around 21%. Well, it doesn't have to be, but it makes everything look a little bit nicer. And the reason why you're not able to see it in real time is because it takes a little bit of time for everything to sort of show up. So, but it does give a nice effect, so you do have to be very patient with things that show up in certain ways. So now that we have that, as soon as it gets to the point, there we go, we do the white shimmer throughout everything. And this part, we do want to make sure that when we're adjusting anything, so now that we're back to this menu, we do have to kind of wait patiently while the actual thing, there we go. Now we go to around 400, 500, and 600. And we adjust it. Adjust this to around 58%. Or not. Do have to be careful. Because when we get a little bit more pressure to anything, it tends to make it a little harder to do this. That's why you have to layer everything in a way sometimes you don't even expect sometimes. That looks pretty good. General look of what everything needs to look like. We do need to add a little bit there, tiny bit over here. But other than that, there are a few things, like on the darkest parts. So we do need to add a little bit. Oh, hard to say on that. Multiply. That's color burn. Linear. Darken color. Line screen. We'll just leave it on normal. But I just want to see all the effects. No, I think it looks just fine on normal. Oh, yeah. I'll delete that layer. Add another layer on top. Sometimes just adding a little bit of darkness in, well, a darker version of the same color, but a little bit sharper in sort of the aspects of it. Make it look as if you were intending to differentiate the colors like this, which I kind of was, but alright. Everyone has their own ways of doing this, but I do it in my way. And it gives sort of natural messy look to the hair. And she's done. So next would be the background for this. Alright, so the background. Now that we have our character done, take all the layers. Of course, I'm going to have to name them later, just so that I can find stuff. Alright, so now that we have the character, let's start out with the background. And because I'm trying to keep a sort of similar look to what she has, let's go with a little bit more of a geometric. Huh. Weird. And so why is this background gray? Oh, that would explain it. There we go. Alright. Everyone's background is always going to be different. But create simple backgrounds, not really the way to go for what I want her to have as a background. So we're going to take out the character. Start filling in some of these shapes, not all of them, just some of them, with black. And then we're going to choose other colors to, well, set forth. Okay. There we are. Had some viewers, had 3. Not the most impressive, but hey, I had at least some viewers watching. Of course, I'm not going to spend money to... Well, you have to spend money to make money in some cases. There we go. I do take suggestions if people are watching in the future. So, if you have an idea of what I should make next time, have at it. I don't mind. Just make sure it's age appropriate. Well, more or less. Alright, now that we have that, we didn't want to put that there, but oh well. We adjust it to another color, more of a hot pink. Lovely. I'm gonna do something on this just so that color burn. No, I'm not going to do And choose what to fill. Sometimes too much processing power goes through certain things. Let's see. And let's do dissolve. Dissolve makes it look like crowns. Subtract, divide. Divide always looks nice. And then one more color. Just go with simple, nice green. Okay, let's turn off this layer just so that it makes it a little bit easier to do all this. Well, instead of that, let's go with something even more simple. And just fill in the layer. There we go. And then we put a layer over a layer. We'll put this one as blue, bluish, and fill. And with the layer, we're gonna do a little bit experiment of each. Hard light. So we're going to do screen on this. We're going to duplicate the layer here. So, okay. Instead of divide, we're going to do pin light. Go back to here. Brush. Okay. Now that we have that, we have our background. Of course, it's a lot of trickery in the process. Group that. We'll call this one background. Okay. Let's put our character back. Okay, and we double click on the character settings and adjust the drop shadow. And the drop shadow can be in any different type of orientation. And the way to do this, let's see, opacity, that's fine. Alright, opacity. And we're going to make this drop shadow a little bit nicer. Let's see, so we can either have the drop shadow very big or very small. Spread it out a bit, but the distance, this is why you have to be very careful on how you want your drop shadow, because it can't be too big, otherwise it looks awkward. but the distance kind of needs to be in a particular way. We change the angle, distance, and there we go. And after this, after you have your drop shadow for your character, you can actually adjust where you have your character positioned. Have her positioned a little bit more towards the right. This is always after you draw something. You give it a nice looking effect. But there we go. We have the drop shadow. And now for the background. Now the background's a little tricky because you can add a drop shadow to the background. And depending on how you add the drop shadow, you can make very interesting effects. You can also have an outer glow and the size of the outer glow. And you can always mess around with these effects to well, however you want, really. But I'm going to keep the angles the way they are, the spread. Sometimes it adds to whatever you want. Alright. But many effects, you can either have it flat or not. It is always whichever way you want to have your, well, to have the look of what you I can't speak, can I? Well, it's whatever you want to have your drawing looking like. So here's what I have her as. Just trying to take away all the effects. So there we go. And edit. Video name change. Edit. Layer style. There we go. I do want to keep the character effects on. And I do want to make sure that she's positioned correctly. And there we go. Alright. She is done, and if you guys have any suggestions of what I should draw next, you can tell me. So we're at that point where whatever you suggest, as long as it's not copyrighted, I will draw it. So any ideas, you can put it in the chat. So I'm listening. If not, it's just going to be another female drawing like I'd done before. Alright, we'll save this. And right there, we are done for that. Now, any suggestions, anybody? I'll take anything. Okay, nothing. Alright, let's just start again. Let's see. We're not going too deep in the darkness. Let's see. We have Zor. We're not going to go back to her. We're going to do a new file. There we go. Okay, good. Alright, 5x7, 600 DPI. And we have a new layer. Let's go back, Photoshop, new layer. We'll just call it layer. Alright. Let's start sketching. No, not that. I also need to adjust it to where it's not so big. There we go. Just so that it doesn't have to calculate so much. Sorry, I'm drawing a little bit fast in what I'm. I'm just drawing a little bit fast. And there we go. We have what I want to draw, sort of. This is usually how I sketch up ideas. Alright, I think I lost everybody. That's sometimes how the cookie crumbles in some way. Yeah. Okay, let's see. We're gonna add something. Let's just add a simple tree. Nothing too complicated. I feel like people just try to look at what I'm trying to draw in the meantime, and then I put them through a loop. It's quite awesome in some aspects of the way. Alright. Or they just want to see exactly what the finished product is, and whatever I draw is fine. Alright, let's go more realistic this time. Okay. And the Malacabra. Let's see. Of course, no one really was going to see exactly what I made out of what I drew. But sometimes the drawing process takes a little bit of a back seat. And we're just going to do something simple of how we're going to draw her. So in order to draw her in the right way, we do this. This is still a sketch, by the way. Alright. Okay. Come on. Adobe. You have to love and hate your programs. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere. Alright. There we go. We have our general look of our character right there. Yes, you could just go back 5 minutes and see the progression of how I made this character out of scratch. It's one way to draw. You just draw until you actually see something. But that's the easy part. Now to retrace it. There we go. And when retracing it, it doesn't always come out the way you want it, but hey, nothing ever does. What nice big teeth you have. There we go. I'll add one more. It's not going to be the final part, so I'm not too scared of having everything just slightly off. I just need to get the form right, and we're good. Feels like she's someone from your nightmares. But sometimes that's how it goes with certain people, is the ones you love may be your nightmares in full. Come on. Come on, pen. There we go. Alright, let's at least make the ear a little bit nicer. So we have the inner part of the ear, we bring it down, we bring it back up and back in, and then around. And then we adjust this to where it's very slight. There we go. There we are. Keeping the same look of the eye, because I love this eye. Looks very nice. And I don't want to redraw it too many times. I'll most likely just edit this layer and say it's done after that. There we go. Now we do above the eye, just a bit. Draw the character. So, usually just a little bit. You don't want to draw too much of the nose, just enough to where everything looks right. And then the lips. Down, out, in, and around. Okay, we got that. Alright, now that we have that, we could do something like this where we cover the excess part with just a bit of hair. There we go. And then we meet back up with the hair right here. And then we do need just a few here. That's why sketching is always the best thing to do first. It may not look exactly the way I had it firstly envisioned, but hey, it's actually coming out to where I have it similar. And then that there. Bring it out and around to around the shoulders. Back and around. Same thing here. Back and around. A little bit too much of a curve there. Still too much of a curve. There we go. Right there. Outfit on. Outfit on here. And here. Right here. Right? Doesn't look right there. I'm gonna bring this in a bit. So right around here. Bring it here. There we go. That looks better. Add sort of the crease in between to show the fullness. And we take away the background. There we go. That's what we got out of it. Sort of. Just one line that I'm missing. There we go. Right around here. There. And then we have the sketch for next time. Well, I know people are just jumping around and just looking for something to look at. I did say that the stream would be very, very short this time. Mostly because I just wanted to start on another project. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that everything looked just right. Okay. And I will see you guys next time. So, there's this drawing that we did. There's the one that I showed before, which is document camera, which is this drawing right here. Let me zoom out a bit. There we go. That's the drawing that I did before I did this one. And, well, if anybody does have any questions or whatever hello. Well, if you do want me to draw anything next time, or if you do have any questions on what you want me to draw, well, here's the drawing tablet display back. So we're going to finish this next time. This will be on the next stream. I will be doing this stream similar to what I did last time. Well, similar to what I did this time. So I will start out with a simple sketch of a drawing of, and you can actually choose exactly what you want me to draw next time. You just have to make sure that you show up on this. I can't speak. You show up on the stream next time at around 9:30. And this will be on Thursday. So that would be during Thanksgiving, I believe. Well, if everybody has their Thanksgiving the way I do, then it is what it is. But I do hope everybody does have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining me, for whoever did join. And I will be signing off in one moment. On my next stream. Oops. There we go. 9:30. I'm just gonna let that stay in the chat for a little bit, and I'm gonna just continue drawing for the moment, just so that there are people who understand. I will be ending the stream pretty soon. It may take maybe 20 minutes, maybe, or less. But let's see. Now that we have that, we're going to have to lift the nose bit. There we go. Alright. Gonna erase this right here. Fixing that. Come on. There we go. And I will fix this in a second. So I don't want to have too many things here. Just enough to where it gets the point across for the eyeshadow and all that. There we go. That looks good. Erase a little bit more here. For the most part, I think everything came across okay. and we're gonna stick with that for today. If anybody does have any questions or anything, I will be stopping the stream momentarily. Um, thanks, thanks for all the people who joined me tonight, and I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving. Well, this is Tech Artist 41 signing off for today. Thank you.